Hey guys, Desmond here, and today I want to talk to you about Pokémon! More specifically, Pokémon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. More specifically, the rival in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So, with the trailer at E3 and the trailer today that Nintendo have dropped, your rival has been revealed to be this guy called Trace, who is another quote-unquote friendly rival. He literally says to you in this new trailer, your friendly rival. So that's great, but it's caused a lot of, backlash from the community. People seem to not like this whole idea of another friendly rival. And I just want to get into why we shouldn't be so harsh against Trace, and then maybe why we should be harsh against Trace. So, why do people not like the idea of another friendly rival in the Pokemon games? I think this stems from a slight bit of nostalgia, but also maybe a bit of oversaturation on Nintendo's part. It's like that time we had 3 consecutive firefighting starters in a row. That was a great time, right? Everyone wants more firefighting starters. That's why when Incineroar was announced, we were all so happy that it looked like a firefighting Pokemon. No, seriously, thank God that Incineroar was not a firefighting type, because... Jesus. But I feel it's a bit of that, because ever since Silver in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, we've not really had a non-friendly rival, I want to say. I mean, when you look back at the first 2 Pokemon games, you had Blue, who, although he was your childhood friend, he was a bit of a dickhead. So, you know, every time trying to one-up you, even when he lost, he was still like, oh well, and was always a step ahead of you. You were on the same journey, but Blue was always there, one step ahead of you, and then at the end of the game, when you think that you've beaten Lance and become champion, he's there again! He's done it! He's done it before you! He was here 10 minutes ago and became champion before you did, so... It's that kind of one-upmanship that no other rival has had since Blue, and then when you come to Silver, Silver's not even your friend. I think it's the first character in the series, and the only character in the series who's not, you know, from the same town as you, or, like, a childhood friend of yours. He's literally just a guy who stole a Pokemon to try and beat Team Rocket. And I really like the idea of Silver. I think Silver's the best rival in the series. Because Silver's got his own journey, whereas Blue was on the same journey as you were. Silver is doing his own thing, and you're the one that's actually getting in the way. I mean, eventually he learns to, you know, look after his Pokemon after thinking they were all about power and just tools to beat Team Rocket. And he learns to look after his Pokemon after a meeting with you and Lance, getting beaten by you all the time. He evolves as a character and becomes this guy who actually cares about his Pokemon in the end, and eventually it gets his goal back to evolve into a Crobat. Since those two, who, you know, every time you saw them, they were there to inconvenience you. They got there right when you didn't want to be battling them. I mean, they both show up when you're trying to beat Team Rocket. So these two guys are actual obstacles in the game. Whereas I feel ever since then, the rival has not been an obstacle, not been getting in the way of you. They've been your friend, and I think the worst candidate for that was Emerald, Sapphire, Ruby, was when Brendan and May are just... I mean, you don't even fight their fully evolved starter Pokemon. That's how bad they are. They're just there. You can barely even call them a rival, because they're not doing the same thing as you. They're not trying to be the strongest Pokemon trainer in the world, which is fine. Not every character that we have a rivalry with needs to be on the same journey as us, but they literally don't care about beating us. They're just doing it for fun. I mean, the game tries to compensate by having Wally, but even Wally in the originals isn't much of a rival. I mean, it's a nice story that you help him catch his first Pokemon, and then you see him grow over time, and he eventually fights you on Victory Road, but he just kind of shows up at the end, and you're like, oh, it's you. Hi. So, Gen 3 really, you know, went downhill when it came to rivals. Then you come to Gen 4, and it's a lot better of a rival in Barry, but Barry just seems to be like this overactive friend. He's not even really, you know, against you. He wants you to succeed. That's the problem with, like, every other rival in the series, is they want you to succeed, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because, I mean, it works with How in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. How is how you do a friendly rival. How's your friend, but he's also trying to get stronger, and in the end, his arc about, you know, trying to become more serious, and then eventually being the champion you have to beat at the end. That is brilliant. That is how you write a friendly rival. How in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is done perfectionly. That was a word. I think How in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon may be a reason to not critique Trace just yet, because he could turn out to be this really good rival. He may be friendly, but he still could be good. Given Pokemon's track record, though, Brendan, May, Serena in X and Y, they're not really good rivals. But then you get the people who would even complain about How being friendly. Like, even though, in my opinion, he's probably the third best rival that you have in the games, people still complain about him because he's friendly, and I think it does go back to that point of they're not really an obstacle to you. How becomes an obstacle in the end. He's the last boss of the game, if you will, but that's the only point in the game where he is an obstacle. Blue and Silver were obstacles throughout your playthrough. And I think this also seeps into people's idea that the games aren't as hard as they used to be. I think it's down to mechanics and a lot of things, stuff to go into another time. But I think the fact that your rival isn't there to stop you all the time, isn't there to get in your way, is a reason people think that the games are easier now. So to sum all of this up, I think we should give Trace a chance, but I see the reason why people are a bit angry with it and would prefer a tougher, meaner rival. But I mean, you never know. We could end up with another rival where Trace is maybe your friendly rival, and then you get someone a bit like Sharon. But that's my thoughts on it. I feel like the games in general are probably going to be easy games. They're aimed towards people playing Pokemon Go, so, you know, they're not going to be the main, you know, serious games. They'll be fun, hopefully, as most Pokemon games are, but I don't think we should take this with, you know, I don't think we should take it too seriously. Besides, people are going to complain about these games. The only real reason to complain is that Sylveon's not in the game. What are you doing? You have Eevee. Why not Sylveon? Look at this. This is peak perfection. Pokemon cannot get any better than this. What are you doing, Game Freak?